Akwaba Medafupa, do pull up a chair today. It's all about fireworks display and Fante Kenkey. Yes, the combination. So, following on from the Ghana Kenkey video, like I said, my niece was in town. We did some sightseeing in London, and we also went to see this fireworks display, which is held every single year in November on Guy Fawkes Night. Takes place in Cashorton Park area, Cashorton area in Surrey. So if you are there, South London area, you can come and watch this fantastic display of fireworks. It's such a treat for the whole family. Plus, the smell of hot dogs and pizza and all of that is just an amazing night to have with this family. So I just thought I'll treat you to what we treated ourselves with. This is just like a minute of it, but we had a whole 30 minutes to an hour display of fireworks. It was amazing. So it is not just about fireworks today. I am going to also treat you on how we had fun making Fante Kenkey, and we enjoyed. I mean, it was the first time my niece was making Fante Kenkey. All she knows is Ghana Kenkey, but I said yes, we can make Ghana Kenkey. It's just the same kind of method. We can make Fante Kenkey. Same method. So yeah, sit tight and watch how we have fun making Fante Kenkey and how we enjoyed it. I hope you have enjoyed this mini fireworks display. If you like to attend, do search for it on Google, type Cashorton Park fireworks, and you'll be able to purchase some tickets for yourself. So yes, this is our Fante Kenkey, which we had a Kenkey party on that Saturday for the night, the morning after the night of the fireworks. Okay, so we prepared this on the day of the fireworks so that we cooked the Fante Kenkey the day after. Okay, so this is what we needed for our Fante Kenkey: some plantain leaves, which had been kind of dried, and then I had this for such a long time, so it was so dry, and as we're trying to open it up, it was just tearing apart because it was overly dry. I've had this for years and it was in store for such a long time, but because I remember that I had it and we're making the Ghana Kenkey, I thought, oh, let's make the two together. So we got it out, but it was so dry. So we had to soak it in water for a little bit to soften it up, and then we attempted to wash it, to clean it a bit, to remove any dirt or debris that was stuck on the surface. So that's what we did. We just used tap water to wash it up, and then yes, we proceeded to use it to make the Kenkey. After washing it up, it was now a bit more malleable to use. But we had very, small pieces. Usually you would want a longer length, but unfortunately we had small pieces and we're just going to work with it. So the other thing we needed for the Ghana Kenkey was corn dough. So this corn dough was purchased from Tina's Mini Market in Wellington, and it came a bit dry. So we broke it up, made it really nice and grainy, and then we then wet it a bit more, adding a little bit of water at a time to form a dough. So if you watch the Ghana Kenkey video, I explained all of that in there, so you may want to go and watch it to get that information from there. So we split the corn dough into two because we're going to use half of it to cook the aflata and half to mix in with the aflata. So this was when we're just bringing the corn dough together into a proper dough, right? Much more malleable than when it was bought. Again, we went ahead to use half and half method. Some people use all kinds of ratios. Some people use 1 part to 3 parts, 1 part for the aflata to 3 parts for the uncooked condo. But we chose to go by the half method. So 1 part cooked and 1 part uncooked. Have you tried making kenkey yourself? What ratio did you use? I would love to know. I'll be trying different ratios at some point to see which one gives me a preferred texture. So I'll be more than happy to know from you, especially if you're an expert and you know which ratio that you prefer or which gives the best texture, the soft texture. For me, I like nice soft kenkey, not too soft, but soft enough. So let me know, okay? Let's share knowledge here. One thing my niece mentioned was that the type of corn dough that you use can also affect the texture. And I suppose with that, there's nothing you can do about it. So it depends on the type of corn, how the corn was handled. So sometimes, same recipe, you end up with a different kind of texture. Have you experienced that before? If you have, let me know. Okay, so back to the cooking, we're making the aflata. So the aflata, you just basically cook the corn dough into a banku. So my niece said for them, they would cook the aflata to almost well done. But for me, in my previous videos made some couple of years ago, I did not cook it till well done because that's what I had grown up to know. So I guess everybody has a different recipe. As I'm growing up, that's one thing I'm learning. Every household has their own kind of recipe. So it is okay. So long as it all comes out and it is nice, yummy, and tasty, that is one thing we should learn, that different people do things differently and yet still it becomes tasty and delicious. So we cooked our flatter to almost well done, and then we also softened the other corn dough a bit more, adding a bit more water to make it nice and soft. My niece said that you need to make it quite nice and soft so that you have a nice soft texture. Perhaps you grew up in a home that used to cook and sell kenkey. Please share with us how you used to cook it. Share with us the tips that you used to use to get those kind of street style kind of kenkey. Call me Papa B. Please share those tips with us so that we can also recreate these kind of street style kenkey in our homes in the diaspora. Because for us, the only way we can enjoy a bit of home away from home is to be able to recreate the recipes. That is what After Village Kitchen is about. We are sharing tips and tricks to get our street kind of kenkey. So I was so proud of my niece who decided to share with us what she was taught by her mom. And she was kind enough to share with us her knowledge and to give us these tips so that we can also recreate that street style kind of fun. Well, I would say Fante Kenkey, but Ghana Kenkey. I made her learn how to make Fante Kenkey in this video. So she also learned something new. So yeah, feel free to share with us what you know so that we can all recreate these recipes and most importantly, keep the recipes alive. All right. So we had the aflata and the uncooked bit mixed, and it was nice and ready for us to mold into the Fante Kenkey shape. So we start with a bowl. Just for you to note, you need to make sure the dough is warm enough for you to handle. It is usually very, very hot, so you need to make sure it is nice and warm for you to handle. So I wanted to mention this, that with the Fante Kenkey, we didn't add any salt to the dough. So in my previous video for Fante Kenkey, a comment from one of you said that I added salt, but she said that for Fante Kenkey we don't add salt. So yes, I mean, listening to your advice, we didn't add any salt to this one. Okay, so then my niece was just struggling trying to mold this kenkey into Fante Kenkey because she had never done it before. And also we were struggling because our plantain leaves were in pieces, right? They were so dry, we didn't have the large pieces, so we were using small bits of pieces to wrap the thing up. And if you know about Fante Kenkey, traditionally it is wrapped up in layers, big layers of the plantain leaves, and then it is molded into an oblong or cylindrical shape. So here we were trying to replicate the same thing, and I was trying to guide her through it. So credit to my hairdresser, Auntie Hannah, who has always been giving me tips on how to fold it. So she said she also grew up in a home where they made Fante Kenkey. And what they used to do whilst wrapping the dough up with the plantain leaves was to put this dough on their knee whilst they were sitting. So on the edge of their knee, they put it and they tap the kenkey and shape it into that cylindrical shape and mold it whilst it is on their knee, and they are molding it, folding the leaves in. So we're trying to replicate the same thing on the chopping board, and I was guiding my niece through it. Hey, I'm no expert, but then I was just trying to do my best, sharing the little knowledge and tips I had gotten from my hairdresser with her. So the other thing that my niece also mentioned was that usually they apportion all the condo into balls so that it makes it easier for them to wrap it up. So you just pick one ball up and you quickly wrap it up in either the corn husk, or here we're using the plantain leaves. So we did that. And I think I have also seen that's being done back home. The kenkey sellers, you go there and you see that they've just apportioned it up into balls, and all they do is pick it up and wrap it up. So yes, my niece was just doing her best to get that shape and molding it. It was a struggle. I mean, if you've never done something before, you always struggle. But you don't need to go through the same thing and try and get the same replica thing that they do traditionally. You can perhaps even tie it with a string at the ends, and that's it. The main thing is it is well secured, and it's going to cook in the plantain leaves so that it gets the flavor from the plantain leaves. Okay, so we're struggling and we're trying all sorts of ways. So this time we decided to wrap the dough with one of the plantain leaves first, before trying as a round shape, before trying to form that cylindrical shape in more layers. So we're just trying all sorts of ways to try and get it done easily. Okay, so it's all part of the learning process. So if you have never tried this before, don't be too scared about how perfectly it comes. The most important thing is it tastes nice and very similar to the traditional one. All right, so this is our Fante Kenkey all wrapped up nicely. Look how beautiful it was. Credit to my niece. She did her best. So again, just like in the Ghana Kenkey, we did not cook the kenkey on the same day, and we did not have space in the fridge, so we thought we'll cover the kenkey with some of the leaves. So in the kenkey video, you'll see that we use some of the corn husks to cover the kenkey. So here we use the plantain leaves to cover the kenkey till the following morning. And there was a tip I shared there that if the kenkey is left for too long before it is cooked, it continues to ferment. That is why sometimes you eat some kenkey and it's, straight after eating, you feel so sleepy. It just knocks you out because it has over fermented. So we cooked ours the following day. It was less than 24 hours. And to cook it, cooking kenkey is using the steaming method. So we layered the bottom of the pot with some of the leaves, and then we arranged the kenkey on top of it. So here again, we try to stand them up. In the Ghana Kenkey video, there was a tip that I shared. Please check that Ghana Kenkey video and get to know about all the tips. And here we try to do the similar kind of thing. I mean, none of us are experts in making Fante Kenkey. So we're just, trying our bits using tips from other places and replicating the same so that we get the same results. So we added our water and then we started to cook this. So this one, we cooked it in a steaming pot. I think the steaming pot helped the kenkey to cook much faster compared to the Ghana Kenkey, which we just cooked in a normal pot. So yes, if you have a steaming pot, by all means use it. So here again, we were not sure when the kenkey was cooked. All right, we were both learning. I'm learning tips from her. I was giving her tips. We were both learning from each other. From the Ghana Kenkey video, there was a tip that we shared where we said that when the kenkey is cooked, but the moment you poke your finger in there, it will bounce back, right? Then you know it is cooked. So here we did that, but we're still not sure. So we actually decided to open one up and then check. Okay, because it was not clear to us whether it was bouncing back or not. And of course, she's learning. I was also learning. So we decided, okay, let's show it to everybody, the process we go through. So we opened it up. We saw that the inside was not fully cooked. So we wrapped it back and then put it back in the pot, added a bit more water, which was needed, and cooked it again. I think it had another 30 more minutes before finally it was cooked. So yes, we had that one that we had unwrapped before. So we used that poking method. You could see that it bounced back. So we knew that it was cooked. Fancy document, yeah. Epede who said that Missy na call me YouTube channel. Now subscribe it. Now for o notification button no click it do ewa. Na and check fancy document where is it? Hey, papi. Yes, bad bro. I say, aye. And yeah, Fante Kenkey was finally cooked. At this point, we had our fish also already fried and we're ready to feast on our kenkey. We had a selection of Fante Kenkey and Ghana Kenkey and some fried fish and shrimps to go with it. So again, here we took all the kenkey out of the pot to allow it to dry out and to cool down. This is what they do. The kenkey sellers do traditionally. I do not know why they do that, but I suppose if you leave it in the water, it may go off or it become moldy. I'm not very sure what would happen, but as a child, I always saw them take all the kenkey out of the cooking pot and layer it into another pot and opened it up for it to cool down. So we did that with the Ghana Kenkey. Check out that video, you'll see that the same thing we did, and same thing we did with the Fante Kenkey here. So you can see we have our proper Fante Kenkey cooked, ready to be eaten. Yes, so we had a lot of kenkey cooked in one day. And of course, we couldn't eat all of that. So what I did was, after it had cooled down, I just froze this kenkey, and for the next couple of weeks I had kenkey available. It was such a lovely thing to do, because you knew you always had kenkey available, Fante Kenkey and Ghana Kenkey made by yourself. So if you find yourself in a place where you cannot get access to kenkey, you can actually make it all by yourself. All right, you may not have access to the plantain leaves, the dried one like this, but you may be able to get the fresh plantain leaves from the Asian shops. So my hairdresser also said to me that that is something her sister uses in Canada. She uses the fresh plantain leaves. So you can always make this. And check out Woozy UK too. You can online, you can buy some corn husks and use to make your Ghana Kenkey. I hope you have enjoyed this video with all this FiReWoRkS and the Fante Kenkey and then all the tips that we have shared. If you have loved this, please give me a thumbs up, which will help my video to grow and to be seen by a lot of people who needs to see it. And don't forget to subscribe and share with people. I would love to have you all on board and become the tribe we have here. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope you have really enjoyed this FiReWoRkS. And yes, there will be more videos coming your way. We went to Ghana in December and I took a lot of videos. So there are going to be some videos from Ghana and some other good stuff. So don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notification button so that you get to know when the video lands. All right, see you very soon. Bye-bye.